I want to put up a slide of some pictures and just tell us really quick, Mona, what the Lord did. The Lord did some fantastic things because this woman of God stepped out in faith, and it was amazing. Mona.
I love doing life with my family, right? So when we went downtown, we set up a tent.
Yeah, there it is.
And I bought banners for all four sides of the tent. It said, Jesus is Lord. On one side, do you need prayer, and prayer tent. And if anybody ever wants to use that tent or use those banners, that space is available to us all the time. He kept asking me if we're coming back. When are we coming back? So I'm thinking maybe this might be a monthly thing, but we'll see.
Okay.
I had Lisa, my granddaughter, with me, and I asked her to write down some of the things that happened and the names of the people, just so I could share it back with you and give you a report. And so I'm just going to read a couple of things that happened. We had a person here named Nick for rededication. You know, a lot of people, this was not a ministry just to the homeless. This was a ministry to anybody that walked by on the street. You know, some people ignore you, and that's fine. But there were a lot of people that were receptive. And here we have a person that rededicated their life, a lady that needed stability, prayed for stability, one that just wanted a Bible, another one that accepted Christ, one for protection, God's love. And I had an interesting encounter with a gentleman that was there with his wife and his 2 children. He had a lot of tattoos on him, and when he walked by, he seemed a bit agitated or nervous or anxious. And I stopped to talk to him, and he told me that just a block down from him, that a car opened up and they had guns. And that, I guess because he had all these tattoos on them, and they thought he was a gang member at one time. But the police came and took care of that. But I think that's why he was so anxious. And I said, well, you know, the interesting thing is you survived that. Nothing bad happened to you. And you ended up here talking to me. So let me explain what I think's happening. And so I talked to him, and you know when somebody's listening to you because their eyes are set on you. He listened to everything that I said. And he is ex-military. I thanked him for his service. And his wife was beautiful. He was there with 2 young daughters. And he accepted Christ. And he said he knew that this is what he needed to do. So I just think that's such an awesome story that this person just walks by and stops and talks to you. But we had a lot of encounters like that. There was a gentleman with Centro. If you know Centro, it's a downtown organization that has all sorts of outreach programs. And they're the ones that wear the yellow and they're cleaning the street. And one of those gentlemen came by and he said, can I have one of the Bibles? And I said, sure, and I started talking to him. And he said that he had dedicated his life to the Lord 2 years ago, and he's been clean for 2 years. And he said, you know, if people just knew Jesus, this world would be entirely different. And I said, well, that's what your mission is, to go tell them about Jesus. And you could tell, he loved God. His whole life had been turned around. And all he wanted was a Bible. So that was an interesting conversation. We had a gentleman that had ulcers on his feet. We had somebody that needed guidance, protection. Let me see if I can read. Healing in the hip. Somebody that was going on a missions trip for 18 days in the Dominican Republic. They stopped and wanted prayer. So there was a wide variety. And I would say that it was pretty awesome.
It was.
It was pretty awesome. I love doing street ministry.
Good job. Way to go.